This provides two quick search boxes to search for a listing or review. The $sign content tags determine if the text displayed are in English or French. They are currently blank with the English text hard-coded to the right of them. When the respective buttons are clicked, the admin view post proc.php is called, and an if statement determines the called process based on the respective name fields. On successful listing review retrieval, the relevant information is populated in the view listings/review modals. Modals will be covered in the next review. The search field is populated with the listing review ID number as recalled from the $_session variables. If the session variables are not set, they default to being blank. On failed query, a message modal will inform of either no listing found, please try again, or search field is blank. This is the view windows which display the actionable listings and reviews. The first row represents the tabs at the top of each window that displays the count of actionable items per respective column. This code block is used to retrieve the number of pending and flagged listings by calling the getPendingListings and getFlaggedListings method of the post class, respectively. This also does apply to the review class, and they are functionally identical. The con variable is the database connection object that is used to communicate with the database. If there are pending or flagged listings, the code then counts the number of listings in each array using the for each loop and assigns the count to the pending post count and flagged post count variables, respectively. These counts will be later used to calculate the total number of actionable listings. A for each loop iterates over each item in the array, represented by the $item variable. Since the actual value of the item variable is not used in this code block, the loop simply increments a counter variable, pending post counter or flag post counter by 1 each time the item is in the array. By counting the number of pending and flagged listings, the code is able to provide a count of the total number of actionable listings in the next line of code, which is displayed in the view window as a label with the class listing folders tab for the attribute actionable posts. This row utilizes PHP code that generates HTML markup. It creates two tables side by side, each with a header and a list of listings and reviews. The first table displays flagged and pending listings, and the second table displays flagged and pending reviews. The code uses PHP's isSet function to check if the arrays array flagged post, array pending post, array flagged reviews, and array pending reviews have been set. If they've been set, then the code loops through each array and displays the relevant information for each item. In this code block, the variable item is used in several for each loops to iterate through the arrays containing information about the listings and reviews. Array pending post, one example here, is an array of pending listings, and the item variable is a variable that is assigned to each item within the array as the loop iterates through it. The item variable then refers to the current item being processed in each iteration of the loop. Within the loop, the code retrieves specific information about each item from the item variable, such as listing or review ID, the user ID of the author, or the product review description. This information is then used to generate HTML markup to display the item in the appropriate table on the page. In this code, the user uses string manipulation to ensure that the length of the product and review descriptions are limited to 45 characters. If the length is greater than 45 characters, the code will truncate the description and append 3 dots to the end. The code uses a combination of HTML and PHP to create links to view the details of each listing or review. When a user clicks on the link, the code sets the action of the view post_form, which is the form that these tables lie, to either the admin view listings.php with the function view listings equals or the one for the review, and depends on the item being viewed. The form is then submitted to the view details of the selected items in the view listing or review modal. This is a PHP function called getPendingListings that retrieves a list of pending listings from the database. It takes a database connection object, con, as a parameter and returns an array of listings. The function starts by initializing an empty array called listings, then creates a SQL query that selects all columns from the listings table where the isProcessed column is equal to 0, meaning the listing is pending, and the listing ID is not present in the flagged listings table where the isFlagged is equal to 1, meaning the listing has not been flagged, and the isActive column is equal to 1, meaning the listing is still active. The query is executed using the MySQLi query function, and if there are results, i.e. the number of rows returned by the query is greater than 0, the function loops through each row and adds it to the listing array using the MySQLi fetch associated function. If there is an error during the query, the function catches the exception and sets the listing array to contain the error message. Finally, the function returns the listing array. This is functionally the same as above, except instead of searching for not present in, it searches for present in the flag table. The two functions regarding reviews are identical to these, except they substitute listing for review. This function takes in a database connection con and the user ID as parameters. It first calls the getUserById function of the admin user class to retrieve the user details associated with the provided user ID. If the user is found, the function retrieves the username from that user details and returns it. If the user is not found or an exception is thrown, the function returns null or an error message respectively. Note that this function is called within a loop of the previous code block to retrieve the username associated with each listing or review item.